Hey, welcome to this Learn to Tech show. This is a show that we hopefully have every Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 hours Universal Time. Fortunately, we missed a few because of my tech guy duties. These are a little long to prepare. You got to get some knowledge. Sometimes there are some subjects that are a little more difficult to talk about. You need to just, focus, read a little more. And of course, I like having the little pictures and stuff. So it's not always super easy to make them when the tech guy duties are in full swing, but I do the best. So tonight we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. So this is Learn to Tech show number 16, May 31st, 2016. And this show has a subject that is always chosen by you. So that means that today's subject, artificial intelligence, is a suggestion from a viewer, and I think it's going to be really scratching the surface because artificial intelligence is something that's very complex to explain, but we're going to do our best, if possible, to explain, and hopefully you'll enjoy the show. So, artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence exactly? We hear that all the time. We hear artificial intelligence. We kind of try to find what it is or what it's defined. And basically, artificial intelligence is mostly about something that has to do with a machine that can, by itself, do actions that are normally left for humans. So any type of action that is normally some type of action that a human will do, well, if a machine can do it, in general, it's a form of artificial intelligence. And of course, we use the word intelligence here regarding to human intelligence, but I think we'll all agree that when we look at everybody in everyday's life, it seems that some people lack intelligence, but that's a whole different subject for a whole different show. So basically, any task that human can do that we've been able, even if it's a program thing, even if we just programmed a machine to do it, I mean, yeah, the machine isn't learning or anything. Artificial intelligence doesn't mean that the machine learns. That's one part of artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence is as simple as, a machine, for example, the little robot that moves around your house and cleans the floors. Basically, it's a form of artificial intelligence that was meant to be done by a human. And now we're training a machine that can move around and clean your floors. So, it's a form of artificial intelligence. Even though that machine doesn't necessarily learn about anything, or it's not going to talk to you next week. It's still going to stay dumb and stay a machine that basically just does cleaning the floors. So where does the term artificial intelligence come from? Well, the first thing that we know is that the term was coined in 1956 by this group. This is what's called the Dartmouth Conference. The Dartmouth Conference happened in 1956 at Dartmouth College, and it was to coin the basics of artificial intelligence. How would it work? We're in 1956, so we're at the moment where we're going to, we start seeing the future here. In 1956, we start thinking, hey, we get machines now that can calculate for us. Basically, computers of the time are giant calculators. But still, these guys and girls, they see a future here because they see that if that machine that makes all of these calculations does that faster, it opens another world, even though we're far away from it yet. We're just in 1956. But, I was myself surprised when I read that 1956 was the date, the year actually, that artificial intelligence was coined as a term. So it's kind of interesting. And of course, in 1956, 1960s, we have these movies, we have these TV shows that show robots, and it's like we're getting into space, and now it's time where we see the future in all sorts of very high-tech stuff. Think about the 1968 movie with HAL computer, HAL 9000, 2001, Space Odyssey. It's a computer that's basically as intelligent as a human, that interacts with the human in the same way that somebody else will interact. It's, we're looking at what's the future coming at. It's very interesting. So 1956, Dartmouth Conference is the first time we talk about artificial intelligence. These guys meet up because they want to talk about that. And it's interesting because it opens up the future, basically. Now we got to, we'll simplify because there are different categories of artificial intelligence, but there's two types that we're going to talk about mainly. Weak artificial intelligence. So weak artificial intelligence refers to machines or programmed objects that will mimic human actions, that will simulate human thought. For example, if I program a little piece of software that has simple questions with you, and you can answer, and maybe put a few branches in there that if you mention certain keywords, I'll ask you, oh, you like computers? Do you like Intel or AMD? Or, it's not something that learns, because if you go through the process all the time, it's always the same questions and the same answers. It's just, it simulates kind of human thought in conversation and, actions that we do every day. And weak artificial intelligence, which is pretty much everything we have today, like Cortana, for example, like Siri on iPhone. Basically, the actions, the decisions, and the ideas that it brings are programmed into it. When you talk to Cortana in Windows 10, it's not complicated. These concepts and everything that it's bringing you is all pre-programmed. Cortana does not by itself have the capability of learning more on something without somebody injecting the information in. So it's all pre-programmed. Cortana looks intelligent. You ask questions. Siri looks cool. You ask questions. You want to have a joke. In my Android phone, I ask for the weather. Wow, that sounds, I have the impression of having some intelligence in here because it does what I ask for. The thing is, it's pre-programmed intelligence. Pre-programmed what will answer to this question. So there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of lines of code in Cortana and Siri, all done by humans to tell Cortana or Siri how to interact. So it's weak artificial intelligence. It doesn't learn really. It doesn't have any thoughts onto or reactions by itself to what you ask and what you say. It doesn't feel sadness if you tell it something sad. But if it responds to some sadness comment, it's a human that said, well, okay, when the keywords are this, let's give empathy of some sort to the user. So you have the impression that you actually have a robot in your hand that has intelligence and that can understand what you say. Well, not exactly. She doesn't understand what you say. She just can put together the keywords and search in a database and come back to you with some kind of answer. And it's as stupid as that. And it tells you how we find these things advanced in artificial intelligence, but at the same time, it's just the same dumb artificial intelligence that I remember on a Commodore 64 that I had. A program would ask questions, like I was saying a little earlier. And you could, for example, the program would say, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think of the color blue, and so on. And, it would go on, but it would sometimes come back in the loop and kind of just mishmash a little bit of your answers. So say, so for example, you would like a blue ball, and it seems so cool because he had a computer in I don't know, I'm in 1983, 84 back then, and it seems so cool. I'm actually having a conversation with a computer. Well, you're not. You're having a conversation with a program made by a human, and the computer has some interpretation of this. So artificial intelligence comes a long way. The studies of artificial intelligence, they start talking about it in '56, but that's where it starts to go on slowly. Machines that can do things that usually are meant for humans. And, we get these robots suddenly that in factories and so on. We get all sorts of robots everywhere that can do tasks that were only human could do before. So that's weak artificial intelligence. They mimic humans based on their programming. So for example, very simple, say Cortana was made by one human that could do it all, program everything in. It's funny because the answers that it would give you technically would kind of mimic the type of person that guy or girl that programmed it is. So for example, answers, if you would, tell jokes, or if you would ask a question, answers would be based on that person. And basically you'd be indirectly talking to that person. You're not talking to the machine doesn't understand you, but the keywords and the programming from that person is actually giving you the answers. So say Siri or Cortana would be by a mentally challenged person. Say a mentally challenged person would have done Cortana. Well, the answers would not be the same as now we have hundreds and hundreds of engineers that do it, because the input simply depends on the person that worked. So if you have somebody, if you have a child, a 10-year-old child, program what Cortana can say to you, well, you know what? As an adult, we would see that Cortana seemed like a 10-year-old girl in the answers she'd give us. So it shows you that she has no reflection at all. She has no way of thinking at all. She's just a machine programmed to answer specifically to keywords in a certain way by some people. And that's it. Weak artificial intelligence. So basically, pretty much everything we have today is weak artificial intelligence, because it's easy to program a machine to do tasks up to a certain point. It's easy to have Cortana answer to you technically. With the power of computers today, it's just a question of how fast Cortana can fetch information based on what you are saying, based on what you are asking. It's as simple as that. It's asking something. So Cortana understands your language because it has that understanding programmed in it, fetches a database of possible answers with the keywords, brings back what she thinks is what you want to hear. And that's why these machines often are dumb. They don't necessarily understand context. They don't necessarily understand that, a word in one area can mean something totally different when you're in another context. So, weak artificial intelligence is presently king. But there's another thing, and that's probably more of the future, but something called strong artificial intelligence. Strong artificial intelligence is basically described as something that matches or exceeds human intelligence. That means, say, Siri or Cortana or Google Voice would be strong artificial intelligence. Well, Siri or Cortana could actually, when you ask a question, extend that and say, oh, well, you know, you're sad today and you're asking me if you want to go see a movie. So I think, you know, this movie would be good for you because of your mood. And it would extrapolate more, you know, it would actually be able to not only talk to you, but sense your emotions and try as a human. You know, when somebody's sad, we sense it. We sense that person is sad, and we want to try to comfort that person. Well, the machine, a strong artificial intelligence machine, would want to do the same, not by pre-programmed stuff, because it senses and it will change by itself of mood and of way of interacting with you, because it's like, okay, something's wrong, we're going to help. You know, robots that are in movies are a strong intelligence, artificial intelligence example. So Matrix, the Terminator, iRobot, artificial intelligence, that little kid that is a robot. That's strong artificial intelligence. A strong artificial intelligence robot will also be able to be self-aware. We are self-aware. We are self-aware that we exist. We are self-aware that we will die someday, hopefully not too soon. We're self-aware that, are we alone in the universe? You know, where do I come from? Why is it that everything is like it is now? That is what a strong artificial intelligence robot would also feel. It would want to know where it comes from. It would want to know why it works. How come everything that's building the robot makes it work? Like, we would ask, how come I'm made of atoms? And I'm here doing a show on the internet for other people. And you're like, wow, you know? So that's strong artificial intelligence. They don't need to imitate or simulate anything like Cortana right now would simulate by a program. And we think, wow, Cortana is intelligent, but it's not. It's, you know, like I said, a pre-programmed response. Here, that robot would be able to have thought, and it would be able to not just simulate. They have their own intelligence. And, you know, because we have our own intelligence, and some people are more intelligent than others, and we have to accept that. Some people have more intelligence than others. It's a fact. The robots would be able to have its own intelligence, its own thoughts, its own way of thinking, of solving something, because it has the equivalent of what human intelligence is about. So it would adapt to everything, because right now, no robots adapt to something. Robots do what they are told. Robots are still dumb. You know, we're scared of that Terminator robot. Robots are right now dumb. Even the most intelligent or artificially intelligent robot is a dumb robot. It simply follows orders. It's like a slave. That's why right now robots are not scary. Where we see the scary part of robots, of course, is when we see strong artificial intelligence robots like in Terminator, that not only, are self-aware, but they are able to think and react and adjust themselves to different environments and different way of doing things. There's no way, Cortana in Windows 10 doesn't react to you, doesn't change its way of doing things because it's you. It doesn't understand these notions. It doesn't even have an understanding. It's just programs. One of the things of artificial intelligence robots is learning. We're talking how Cortana and how Siri and how all of these are presently, in an evolution. They are better with time. But we are starting to have notions of learning. And an example of that is when Cortana looks at an appointment that I've set, and she, on her own, can see, oh, but on your email, you bought tickets for Coldplay on that evening. So I better warn you that, well, you have Coldplay on that evening, and you should take that appointment another night or another day. It's a form of learning. And, that's one of the things that we're trying to put in robots. One of the examples of learning of robots is like the Deep Blue, IBM Deep Blue, and the new Google one that I was also playing a game. What they do, actually, these robots are capable of adjusting and learning based on what the human interaction around it is. But still, it's very simple. You got to understand that these machines are doing one thing. They are doing, Deep Blue is just playing chess. And that's all it was programmed to do. So it's not super complex. It can adapt or learn from one thing. It's not as if tomorrow, because it played chess with Kasparov, it not only is a great chess player, but now it's going on its own, doing all sorts of things in the world. It's not. It's just a machine that does one thing. But it does learn from it. And that's one of the things that actually everybody's trying to work right now on these robots is how can you have a robot learn on its own about not just what it wants or needs to do, but we're looking at the robot, we're searching for that robot that can learn from anything, and from there interact with our world and with us by understanding what it saw, what it read, what it was reading about. And it's kind of interesting because learning is something, for us as humans, we learn all life. I'm still learning today. I'm learning today as I'm making these shows. I'm learning as I do the videos to help you with your computers. I don't know everything. We never will know everything, but we learn all the time. We'll learn until the day we die, because that's where our brain is connected in that way. Our brain is a form of computer, but it's a very unique computer. It's very different from how a computer works. It does things that no computers right now are able or capable of doing. And, that's why part of the learning process and the studies of artificial intelligence come from the fact that we are looking at the human brain, how it functions, and how, it performs the task that we ask, everybody. When I ask you something, when you interact with me, somewhere researchers are looking at how the brain reacts to that. How can it possibly store information and change its behavior depending on what's happening around it. And that's learning. We learned in life, we learned that we behave in a certain way in a certain place. We learn that there are things that you cannot do when you are live on a show that you will do when you're not on the show. You are learning how to do new skills of all sorts, play music, and learn more about a subject like with Learn to Tech, learn about artificial intelligence. And that is one area where it's complex, because learning means that you will store more information. Cortana isn't learning. Cortana is improving based on its database of what we are telling Cortana to do. Same thing with Siri. A learning computer would be able to see what we are talking about and then say, oh, I didn't know that the Earth circles the sun. Thanks for letting me know. It's more information for me now, and it can, from there, go to other spheres and other places and learn about other things that it didn't know about. So that's a complex issue, but that information needs to be stored. So it means the robot that will learn needs extra storage. It means that if we build a robot that learns, we got to have in that robot terabytes and terabytes of space and be able to add terabytes. Our brain is amazing for that. It's adding space as we learn. So basically, we're going to learn more. It just creates extra places where it stores stuff. And you know what? It's kind of unlimited. We could learn all our lives and be the most, amazing learner of life. And there's still going to be spots. There's still going to be a lot of place to store all the information, because the brain simply rewires and adapts to create all that we need to learn more about everything. And that's going to be, that's one of the complex issues of artificial intelligence. A self-learning robot needs to basically have extra space and be able to add space for more information as time goes on. We also have our thinking process, how we can add information, but also by ourselves. Once again, let's go back to Cortana versus Siri versus Google Play. They look super intelligent when we ask. They are pre-programmed machines. Cortana, and I was telling the example of Cortana that can tell me, don't put an appointment there because you're seeing the Coldplay concert. It looks like a thinking process, but it's just verifying information. A artificial intelligence machine that would be interesting is one that is capable of thinking about a few things that you let it know about, and it would simply say, I'm trying to find an example here. It would be able to take, okay, I'm getting my skis on Friday, and I'm renting a car, and I'm going to this hotel at this spot. And then Cortana would be able to say, oh, you're a skier. Wow, I didn't know you were a skier. And the interaction would be, well, it's cool. The thinking process would be able to not just say, do you want to book reservations for a ski resort? It would be more like, oh, you're a skier. I'm going to add that now to my knowledge base. You're a skier, you do sports. That's the thinking process, adding information because of things that you see. It would look, Cortana or Siri would look at me and say, okay, well, you've got a scheduled show, a live tech show. You are posting videos on a Windows 10 channel. Oh, are you a tech guy? Now I see what your appointments. Oh, you must be a tech guy. Oh, do you want to have, it's fun. I now know you can fix me. Siri or Cortana could say, oh, you can fix me? So you're the guy I need because you're going to fix me. And well, that's the thinking process that the machine could try to do. It doesn't, because it doesn't have a thinking process. It just, in my case, it will just say live tech show, appointments, and it's just going to say, okay, well, don't put your live tech show on this day, on Tuesdays, or don't put an appointment Tuesday afternoon because you've got a live tech show. It's not making that thought process of, oh, you're a tech guy. It's just making, well, don't do this because you've got that, and that's it. It's a yes or no again type of answer. So that's another thing. How do you make a computer have a thought process? Being able to take that information and say, okay, you're a tech guy, and well, do you want me to let you know when the next Android phone or next iPhone is out? Because I see that you're watching a lot of videos on phones, and by the way, I think you would prefer this because of what I know about you. And, part of it is happening, but it's not a thought process when it's happening right now. It's just pre-programmed. But it could by itself, tell me, oh, well, you seem to enjoy Apple products more, or Android products more. And, well, I would have a suggestion about this. And you have this disability, or you have, you're wearing glasses, that the screen on that device is better than, that would be more of a thought process. And that would be interesting. But it's a complex thing, having a computer think. We have to, understand why we think. How come we're able to think? That's already first thing we need to know. Pretty complicated. Problem solving is another thing that a computer needs to do. Problem solving means more than just 4 + 5 = 9. For that, the computer is quite good. Computer's quite good at doing that. Thing is, problem solving is of different natures. So being able to have a computer or a machine that will solve a problem in which it has very few information. Us as humans are amazing at that task. We get somewhere, something happens. And even if we didn't ever do it in our lives, we'll look at the situation and think of what we could do. For example, a few months ago, I am going to the grocery store. In front of me, a woman falls to the floor. She just doesn't feel good, and she wants me to call the ambulance. And I did that, but I did more than I ever thought I could do, because then my thought process is, okay, I need to help her. And I've done things that I've never done before. And, I just reacted and adjusted to the situation, which is something that a robot cannot do right now. And that's because we have our problem-solving capability. Okay, woman falls down, problem. What do I do? Okay, call an ambulance, one part of the solving. What can I do more to make sure that she stays safe? It's constant problem solving. If I would have a glitch here, screen shuts down. right smack in the middle of the show, problem solving. Okay, I'm going from giving you a show to now having a problem solving. Okay, there's a problem. The screen is shut down. I want it for my show. What am I going to do? So, and that is without having any pre-programmed information necessarily. I didn't know what to do when something happened suddenly that I've never seen before, yet I've been able to think about how I could still solve a problem with little information about how to solve it. So that's where everything gets into your mind and you're like, okay. Pretty complex when you look at that. And that's why we're still at the level where robots are dumb. They are doing what we're telling them. They can't do anything on their own. There are no robots in the world right now that will, rise up and decide, hey, I'm taking a plane to Canada and I'm going to kill everyone. It doesn't have that. That's why Terminator is not there yet. It doesn't have that capability. No robots do. Unless somebody programs a robot that can, with specific tasks, we'll put it here at the airport. It can go up the stairs. It can board a plane. It can go up to Canada from that plane, come down, and kill somebody. But that means somebody programmed it to do so. The robot didn't suddenly think, let's go kill somebody somewhere. That's impossible right now. But it's still scary when you think in the future, and we're going to get to that a little later on. Perception. How do you give an artificial intelligence perception of things around you? It's very, very weird. These are such interesting ways of thinking. Perception. How come I can see myself around here? I realize I'm in the middle of a room. I realize there's a camera here and there's a laptop to my left. There's spots and I can see outside, and I realize all of that. I realize it's sunny out there. That's perception. I'm realizing all of these things around me. And the robots of it with artificial intelligence, or the computers, we have to give them perceptions of some sort. They have to see, they have to sense, they have to do a lot of these things, and that's done with sensors. So first of all, before we get to there, it's done with sensors. And we'll see sensors a little later on about different ways that artificial intelligence machine can sense. Language. It has to find a way to talk to us and understand us. And of course, being humans, we don't want to talk with 001100 011101. That's nonsense. That's nonsense for all of us. This is getting interesting. If we look at Cortana, Siri, Google Voice, many even children's toys, a lot of them have slowly, but it's coming there, language. They can speak to us. Okay, it's pre-programmed voice synthesis, but it's still voice synthesis. And with computers today, voice synthesis is, you don't need a special chip or anything. You just need to create the language programming, and it's going to be used when needed. So Cortana can read to you, for example. Cortana can understand stuff that you're telling. Language, I'd say if we have a side of artificial intelligence that's interesting, language side is pretty cool, because the language side is there. We're having kind of a conversation. It's not, once again, sentences that the robot or the computer is actually creating for us. Siri is not going to come out of my phone and say, hey, I'm lonely. Let's talk. Not exactly. The human might tell her that, but she doesn't know what to do with that. That's for sure. So, but at least there's some understanding. Once again, there's still limits because all of the algorithms of our different voices and our accents and the way we say things makes it very, very difficult for computers to understand us all the time. That's why we read, in Windows 10, if you want Windows 10 Cortana to really understand you well, there's a little test in Cortana. There's a setting that you can say, okay, I'm going to read 5 or 6 paragraphs of text. And that will help Cortana, or the program that is Cortana, to understand you better, because it will have noticed the little differences in your voice that helps Cortana understand what you're doing or what you're asking. And so, interaction in a language, either text or voice somehow, is all in there in artificial intelligence machines. What makes artificial intelligence possible? Again, we're talking that pretty much everything we have right now is in weak artificial intelligence. That means dumb machines pre-programmed to do what we told it to do. We still don't have machines that can interact by thinking about, okay, I'm a machine, you're a human, well, how can I change that, or what, there's no interaction like that right now. But CPUs, the processing unit, the brain of the machine, is what will make machines eventually much more intelligent with their artificial intelligence. And the reasoning is that this is the power of any computer, of any machine. The more powerful we'll have CPUs, the more the machine will be able to, because remember, a machine is a machine. It does what it does by calculations and code executions. And the faster it can do that, the more it can do in terms of power of everything. So basically, the more powerful the CPU is, the more you will have simultaneous capabilities in the machines. So with a strong, very powerful CPU, it's going to be able to eventually not only listen to what you say, but have that thought process about what answer I should give, and not just use a database of answers, but from its own information, make its own answer. And that means billions and billions and billions of calculations a second for that machine to work. So imagine, let's go back down for a second to our brain. Imagine it's gazillions of instructions and of calculations that makes that possible. Yet for us, our brain does all of that. And if you interact with somebody and you go on all day long and you look at stuff and you remember stuff, you're not tired at the end of the day. Your brain does that almost in the background, like if nothing happened. And and the same thing if you are in a heavy problem-solving issue. We say that CPUs, when they work too hard, they overheat. And the way our brain overheats is if you are in an intense problem-solving moment, trying to find a solution. Basically, you will find that after a couple of hours, I remember when I was in school, we had these big exams. I mean, after 2 or 3 hours of exams, you get out of there and your brain is tired. It is tiresome for your brain. It worked hard to do problem solving, because it did problem solving. It's not just pre-programmed to do what it did. So the more the CPUs are going to be powerful, the more we'll have these capabilities. Sensors, artificial intelligent machines like robots, will need to sense its world around it. We do have things like cameras, and we have microphones. So there's the possibility for a robot or for a computer to see us. There's a possibility, and we see a form of that when you take your phone and you take an app that takes a picture. It follows your face. If you move your face around, even on your PC, some programs do that. It's a form of, yeah, I understand that this is a human face. It's kind of if your device is looking at you. Once again, pre-programmed, but still, it learned the traits of what a human face looks like so that it can follow it anywhere you go. Microphone, so it can listen to our voice. Speakers, so it can talk to us. But it will need to have much more than that. It will need to have sensors for temperature, knowing I can't put my hand in a fire because it's going to burn me. For us, it's very easy. Put your hand in a fire. I don't think it'll take more than a second before you remove it. But a robot will need to have sensors for everything. So that means we have sensors built in our bodies that are pretty amazing. They sense everything around us. They sense that something's touching us. They sense that it's too hot, too cold. Everything that we need to survive, basically, because it's part of survival for us. And robots will need all sorts of sensors in their artificial intelligence machines. And more and more, we are checking out robots. Now, what kind of robots? Let's look before we go. I'm sorry, I'm rushing things a little bit because it's a subject that would require probably a 3-hour show just to get really the hang of it. And on some of the subjects like this one, I was thinking of maybe doing eventually a part 2 where we'll go deeper into a little more stuff. Deeper dive into what artificial intelligence and so on. So this is one of my favorite shows from when I was a kid, the Jetsons. This is Rosie the robot. And what do we want of the future of our, artificial intelligence and robots? Rosie is a robot that is able to not only do house chores, but can get mad, has emotions, has thought, so she can actually tell someone in the Jetsons that this or that is not appropriate or shouldn't be done. So, this is strong artificial intelligence. This is eventually maybe a type of robot we'll have. I don't know. But of course, we'll have robots that do things, cool things. So like this one is a house chores. I think everybody would like a robot that would go around, do the house chores, and you just relax and do nothing else than whatever you want. I think that would be really cool. It's not there yet, except, maybe in the little vacuum cleaner that's going around the house. I was actually thinking of getting one of those eventually. That could be a form of what we want to do with our future of artificial intelligence, robots that help us around the house, do chores, go take our groceries. Of course, one of the most known robots right now, and one of the robots that probably a lot of people are going a little crazy, and there's, I was talking about the Foxconn 60,000 employees being replaced by robots. Robots that build things. Robots with, of course, pre-programmed artificial intelligence, because once again, it doesn't build it on its own. It's programmed artificial intelligence that tells it how to behave and build stuff that we told it to build. This can build a wall or stuff like that. It won't build a house. It's specific tasks. Yet, robots have one thing that is in favor compared to humans. Humans are terrible in accuracy and speed. If you want accurate and speed, humans aren't the best in the world. We even have animals that are actually better than us. Robots are amazing at that. So amazing, in fact, that pretty much a lot of the different jobs today are at risk. Artificial intelligence is bringing the possibility of a robot at your workplace. There's robots that build. So, for example, there are a lot of jobs where we were humans building little things, replaced by robots that do it 100 times faster, 24 hours a day. Foxconn robots that, will build electronic devices. If you look at the robots in the car industry that help workers build all these cars, but look at all the electronics. The CPU, for example, from Intel, these rooms filled with robots. There's almost no humans there that do these parts. And that's scary for the future. So artificial intelligence is at this stage right now. We programmed a robot to do something. But you know what? As we get more CPUs and maybe are able to change from weak artificial intelligence to strong artificial intelligence, it will suddenly say, okay, today I'm going to build a wall, that's what we need, but tomorrow I'm going to, tomorrow I'm working another place because I'm going to build a car. And the next day I'm going to build this. And it might go to another factory on its own and say, okay, oh, wow, I'm learning how to build a house. Okay, cool. So tomorrow I can build a house now. So imagine going from simple robots that do tasks pre-programmed to robots that will be able to learn, think. Basically, you know what? That means maybe we'll have robots that are going to compete with us in the unemployment line, trying to find jobs. I'm slightly kidding, but at the same time, just think about it. Think about if we do get this artificial intelligence running to a point where it can do everything. It's all scary. Self-driving cars. That's a form of artificial intelligence. Once again, weak artificial intelligence. The car is, in this case, kind of self-aware. Self-aware of only the environment, not self-aware, hey, I'm a car in the middle of another car. It doesn't have that feeling. But it is, oh, I'm on the road. Oh, there's a car in front of me. Oh, okay, I wanted to go faster, but there's a car on my left, so I can't really go faster. I gotta wait. So it's an artificial intelligence robot on 4 wheels that senses its environment thanks to all the sensors, that can check around everything, know its distance, know where to stay, and so that the people stay safe, and drive you home without you having to do anything. You just relax and, I don't know, read your favorite book or do some computer stuff and let yourself drive. It's a form, but you know what? Take a look at all the different technologies we're building right now. So this car senses around it a lot of stuff. That robot in that shop building a wall, let's add sensors that sense its environment a little more, that were imported from this project. With CPUs that are even more sophisticated and more powerful, and so on. So you see that slowly we are building bigger and stronger robots. And that's thanks to the artificial intelligence. But yet, I don't know how many times I've said it, weak artificial intelligence. That car doesn't think. It simply goes through a list of parameters, and it knows, okay, I'm approaching that car too fast, I need to brake. It's just calculations. It does some physics. It's a computer that's doing physics with its environment around it to know what and where to go or stay or not. Military robots, also artificial intelligence. Building. One of the projects that a lot of people are going crazy is the building of robots for the military that knows what the enemy looks like and can kill it. And you know what? That's where I think the artificial intelligence is scary. Right now, military use of artificial intelligence is the #1 field where artificial intelligence money is spent. Why? Now we think about it, it's scary. We think about it in another way. If you look at the military side, oh, but we'll send robots and we'll spare our human lives. Our army will be an army of robots. And that's cool because we're going to save lives. We're going to create jobs, tech jobs, and stuff like that. That's the military way of thinking. Of course, there has to be ways for that robot to think, to react. Know, okay, this is a civilian. This is a bad guy that we have to kill. Kind of complex. But it brings you to this. What is preventing? There are different conventions. There are different ways that actually right now we're thinking of, doing rules. One of the rules that a lot of researchers want to put into effect is that any robot, any artificial intelligence device that we build needs to be programmed to not harm any humans. And a lot of researchers are saying we have to put this in all robots. You cannot kill a human. You cannot, be against us. The problem there is that where does it stop? One of the things about this is, and we see it in that movie, that Terminator has a great way of thinking about robots, in the sense that the robots, why are the robots attacking the humans in the first movie? They're attacking humans because humans are a threat to humans. So basically, they are taking control because their basic line is, oh, we got to protect humans, so all the humans are killing themselves, so humans are dangerous finally. And because humans attack robots, robots attack humans, and it just doesn't stop anymore. But the thing is, it is scary. I'm part of the people that we're still very far off this. Now, very far, I don't mean 1,000 years far. I mean, we won't see a robot like this in my lifetime, probably. Yet 100 years from now could be surprising. And I think we have to set a number of rules and code that will always prevent robots from doing bad things against everybody. Because once they become self-aware, what makes us believe that a robot will always be obeying orders? They are obeying orders today because it's weak artificial intelligence. You have no idea. They're just dumb machines. But once we get one that can think, be self-aware, be sad, be scared, that suddenly changes the game. I could see that a scared robot thinking that his master, for example, let's use the master thing here, that the robot is with his master. Master's in danger. Robot's scared because we've been able to give him all the emotions of a human being. I don't know. What will prevent that robot from computing rapidly? Oh, I'm going to kill that person because I want to kill my master. And so on. And what prevents robots from killing anyway? Very complex issue here. It's much more complex than just artificial intelligence. And, you know, I think that's the idea here of how we have to think of artificial intelligence as a really cool thing. I mean, if we implement it really well, I think artificial intelligence can be such a great thing. It can help us tremendously, but it has a scary side. And that scary side is going to be when we create strong artificial intelligence. The one that is self-aware, has the intelligence at least equal to what a human being is, and can think of it on its own. Put with that the possibility of self-replicating, self-fixing, and moving around and going everywhere at once easily. It's getting scary. When we're there, it's really scary. Now, we're not there yet. We're still in the weak artificial intelligence. So this was the live tech show number 16 for May 31st, 2016. Hope you enjoyed the show. It was one aspect of what is artificial intelligence and how implemented, you know, in machines and how the future might look like. I think this subject has many more Learn the Tech shows that we could use. That's for sure. Next week, we are going to be here on Learn the Tech. And next week, we're going to follow, once again, user request, television. Television from the first ever image on a screen that is of a television to HD TVs, 4K. So we'll look from in the past, go through the different technologies used, and look to the future. What's coming? This thing is maybe already obsolete. So it's going to be interesting to see, I think, what's happening in the field of technology with television. I want to thank you all for being there. It was really nice to do this show. It's always cool to do these shows. I wish I would have a little more time. You want to give me more time? Send me a PayPal donation. Look at my link for the tech show this afternoon. And you know, the more I get donations and everything, the more time I have to spend making these shows, adding more shows. If you like what I do, please, it's very welcome. Thank you, everyone. See you next week, 3 p.m. for you know, my questions, your answers on the tech show. Sorry, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 hours UTC. Learn the Tech next week. History of television, 6 p.m., 2200 hours UTC. Bye, everyone. Take care. Have a nice week. Sorry.